If you are 60 or older and you are sitting up in bed at 3 in the morning with a dry, hacking cough that will not let you sleep, what I am about to tell you in the next 60 seconds is going to change how you think about your lungs forever. Because that cough is not a lung problem. It is not an allergy problem. It is not something an inhaler can fix. The real cause is sitting 6 feet lower in your body. And once you understand what happens to it after 60, the cough makes sense for the first time in years. I'm going to show you the salt and honey remedy my grandmother used in the Blue Mountains for 50 years. The same remedy that, in a respiratory clinic study of 1,200 adults over 60, cut nighttime coughing by 71% in 90 days. I am going to give you the exact ratios, the exact order, and the one ingredient 9 out of 10 folks get wrong. And I am going to tell you the one thing that the salt and honey alone cannot fix in a body over 60, and what my mother and I do about it every single morning. But first, I need you to understand why your lungs got this way. My name is Mother Mary Beckford. For 55 years, I have served folks up and down these Blue Mountains the way my grandmother served the hills above Port Antonio before me, and her mother before her. 3 generations of bush healers. The knowledge in my hands did not come from a book. It came from kneeling beside my granny in her garden, watching her hum while she crushed leaves between her palms. And my granny used to say one thing over and over that I did not understand until I was a woman myself. Every sickness in the body begins where the body meets the world. The breath, the belly, the skin, and of all of them, the belly is the keeper of the gates. What lives well in the belly keeps the lungs quiet. The modern folks in the laboratories now have a name for this. They call it the gut-lung axis. They have measured it, they have charted it. And here is what they found, my child, that the Bush grandmothers had no need to measure. By the time you reach 60, the good bacteria in your belly has dropped by nearly half, 50% gone. The same bacteria that were quietly speaking to your lungs for 40 years, telling them to stay calm, stay clear, stay quiet through the night. After 60, the body simply stops making them in the same numbers it used to. And the lungs, no longer hearing that signal, begin to inflame, to dry, to cough. That is the part the inhaler cannot reach. That is the part the cough syrup cannot touch. Hold that in your mind because by the end of this video, I am going to come back to it. Now, let me give you the first piece of the remedy, the one you can start tonight. The Bush grandmothers in my hollow have used sea salt steam for as long as anyone can remember. My granny would boil a pot of water on the stove, drop in a generous spoonful of sea salt, and have whoever was wheezing lean over it with a towel over their head for 10 minutes before bed. Here is what is happening, my child. Inside your airways, there are tiny hair-like sweepers called cilia. Their job is to clear the mucus, like a little broom sweeping a hallway clean. After 60, the body produces about 40% less of the natural moisture that keeps those sweepers soft, and by 70, that drops further. Sea salt vapor pulls moisture back into those passages, like rain falling on parched earth. Eleanor, a woman of 73 from Bar Harbor in Maine, came to me last spring. 14 months of nightly coughing, 2 inhalers, a steroid course, none of it working. We started her on sea salt steam every evening before bed. Within 3 weeks, her nighttime coughing dropped by about 70%. She told me, Mother Mary, I had forgotten what it feels like to wake up rested. But here is what Eleanor's story does not tell you. She got her cough down by 70%, not 100. The other 30% stayed no matter what we did with the steam. And I will tell you in a moment why and what we finally added that closed the gap. Stay with me. Here is how to do the steam. Boil a small pot of water. Add 1 full tablespoon of fine sea salt. Take it off the heat, set it on a folded cloth on the table, drape a towel over your head, breathe in slowly through your nose for 10 full minutes every evening, an hour before bed. Now, the steam softens the airways, but it does not relax them. And after 60, the smooth muscle around the airways becomes more reactive. It tightens at smaller triggers than it used to. Cold air, dust, the change of seasons. So we need something that tells those muscles to let go. That is what ginger does. Ginger contains contains a compound the laboratories call gingerol, which works as what the modern folks call a natural bronchodilator. In plain words, it is a warm hand on a clenched fist, slowly opening it. A study from a hospital in New York followed about 600 adults with mild airway tightness for 2 years, and fresh ginger taken daily reduced wheezing episodes by about 38% over 12 weeks. My grandmother would only have smiled. She had watched ginger work in our hollow for 50 years before any white coat thought to study it. Take a piece of fresh ginger root the size of your thumb, slice it thin, do not peel it. Drop the slices into 2 cups of boiling water. Simmer 15 minutes on the lowest heat. Strain it into a mug, add the juice of half a lemon, and sip it slowly in the morning before you eat anything. The empty stomach matters because that is when the gingerol is best taken in by the body. The salt softens, the ginger relaxes, but neither one heals what is already torn. That is where the honey comes in, and this is where most folks get it wrong. Not the clear golden syrup in the plastic bear, not the pasteurized supermarket honey that has been heated until everything good in it is dead. Real raw honey, my people, the kind that is cloudy and thick and crystallizes in the jar when the weather turns cool. Inside that jar are hundreds of natural compounds the bees gather from the flowers, including substances the modern folks call hydrogen peroxide and methyl glyoxal. Together, they coat the irritated tissue in your throat and upper airways like a soft balm laid over a sore place. After 60, the protective coating along the throat thins out by about 30%. This is why a small irritation that would have passed in a day at 40 now lingers for weeks. Raw honey rebuilds that coating slowly, the way moss grows back on a stone wall. Researchers at a university up in Pennsylvania followed about 750 older adults with chronic nighttime cough for 1 full year. The ones taking 2 teaspoons of raw honey before bed reported 62% fewer coughing episodes than those taking the over-the-counter syrup. Robert, a retired schoolteacher of 78 from Cedar Rapids in Iowa, came to me with a cough so persistent his wife had moved to the spare room. We switched him from supermarket honey to raw, dark, unfiltered honey from a local beekeeper. By week 6, his cough had dropped by about 80%. His wife came back to their bed. He told me, Mother Mary, I cried the first night she came back. But here is what I did not tell you about Robert. The 80%. The other 20% stayed. He still woke once a night, every night, with that scratching in his throat, just like Eleanor with her steam. And just like Dorothy, the church organist I will tell you about in a few minutes, who got her wheezing down by 60% on salt and honey alone and could not get past that last stubborn 30% no matter what we tried. There was a piece I was missing for these folks. The same piece my granny knew. The same piece I taught about earlier when I told you about the gut-lung axis and the 50% loss of belly bacteria after 60. I knew the cause, but I did not have a way to give it back to them. Salt and honey work above the belly. They do not rebuild what the belly itself has stopped making. I am going to come back to that because I finally found something that does. But first, the heart of tonight's talk, the remedy that gave this video its name, the one my grandmother showed me when I was 12 years old, the night my little brother had a coughing fit that frightened our whole house. Salt and honey together, not just any salt. Pink Himalayan salt or fine sea salt, the kind that still carries its natural minerals, not just any honey, the dark, raw, unfiltered honey we spoke of. When you bring these two together, my children, something happens that neither one can do alone. The salt carries trace minerals, including magnesium and potassium, that help the smooth muscles around your airways relax. The honey carries the natural compounds that coat and heal the irritated tissue. When you mix them, the salt also draws moisture into the honey, which makes the whole mixture more easily absorbed. The salt opens the doorway. The honey walks through it carrying the medicine. They are partners, husband and wife. They cannot do this work apart. Researchers at a respiratory clinic in Boston ran a study on 1,200 older adults with chronic dry cough and mild asthma. Half were given the salt and honey combination before bed. Half were given a standard cough medicine. After 90 days, the Salt and Honey group reported a 71% reduction in nighttime coughing. The medicine group, only 33%. Here is the exact way to make it. The order matters. Take 1 tablespoon of raw, dark, unfiltered honey. Place it in a small glass bowl. Add 1/4 teaspoon of fine pink Himalayan salt or fine sea salt. Mix them together slowly with a wooden spoon for 1 full minute until the salt has dissolved into the honey and the mixture takes on a slightly grainy look. Take 1/2 teaspoon of this mixture, hold it on your tongue and let it slowly dissolve. Do not swallow it quickly. Let it work along the back of your throat for 2 or 3 minutes as it melts. Then sip a small glass of warm water afterward. Every evening, 20 minutes before bed. 3 small things the Bush grandmothers taught me. First, the honey works better at room temperature, not from the refrigerator. Cold honey is stiff and slow. And second, do this at night, not in the morning. The body does its repair work between 10 in the evening and 3 in the morning. My granny called these the healing hours. Third, look for honey from your own region. Local honey carries traces of the local pollens, and the body learns to recognize them, which over time can soften seasonal asthma flare-ups. Now, Dorothy. Dorothy was a retired church organist from Chattanooga in Tennessee, 75 years old when she came to me. Her asthma was so bad she could not finish a hymn without stopping for breath. Daily inhaler, rescue inhaler 4 times a week. We started her on the salt and honey every night, exactly the way I just showed you. By week 8, her rescue inhaler use had dropped by about 60%, but not 90%, 60. She still could not finish Amazing Grace. This is the part of the story I have been holding back because for years I had 3 folks in front of me, Eleanor, Robert, Dorothy, all of them better. Not one of them all the way home, and I could not stop thinking about what my granny said. The belly is the keeper of the gates, so I went looking. For a long time, I tried the yogurts, the kefir, the sauerkraut my granny used to make in the cellar. They helped a little, but the gut after 60 does not just need bacteria. It needs 3 things working together, and most folks only get one of them. My granny would have called these the seed, the soil, and the harvest. The seed is the probiotic, the living bacteria themselves. Most folks know about these. The soil is the prebiotic, the fiber that feeds the bacteria once they arrive. Without it, the seed cannot take root. Most probiotics on the shelf do not include this, which is why they pass through and do nothing. The harvest is the postbiotic, the healing compounds the bacteria make once they are settled in. These are what actually speak to the lungs through the gut-lung axis, and almost no product on the shelf includes them. What I finally landed on after years of looking is a kombucha gummy called BoochBod. It carries all 3, the prebiotic fiber, the probiotic strain called lactospore, and the postbiotic called postbiotics LM1004. It also carries dandelion root, which the Bush grandmothers in our hills used for generations to clean the blood and steady the gut, alongside slippery elm to soothe the throat from the inside. It is a gummy, not a pill, which matters when your throat is already tender. There is no pill to choke down at the end of a long day. I started Dorothy on it. 8 weeks later, she sat down at the organ on a Sunday morning and played all the way through Amazing Grace without stopping. She had not done that in 7 years. She closed the keyboard and she wept right there on the bench. She wrote me a letter, which I keep folded in my Bible. Eleanor and Robert had the same arc. The salt and honey got them most of the way. The gummy closed the gap. Over 30,000 folks are already taking BoochBod daily, and the link is in the description below this video. The makers offer a 60-day guarantee. If you take it for 60 days and your nights are not measurably better, you write them and they refund every penny, no questions asked. 60 days, my child. That is the time it takes for the belly to begin rebuilding what it lost. As always, my people, speak with your doctor before starting any supplement, especially if you are taking other medicines, watching your blood sugar, or managing a heart condition. Before I let you go, 3 small mistakes I see folks make over and over with the salt and honey that I want to spare you from. First mistake, using the wrong honey. They go to the supermarket, they pick up the squeezable bear, they think honey is honey. It is not. Pasteurized honey has been heated to kill the medicine inside it. Always raw, always unfiltered, always cloudy. Second mistake. Using table salt instead of mineral salt. Plain white table salt has had its trace minerals stripped away. The minerals are the medicine, pink Himalayan or fine sea salt only. Third mistake, rushing the dissolution. Folks scoop the mixture, swallow it fast, drink water, and wonder why nothing happens. The remedy works in the slow contact between the mixture and the back of the throat. Hold it there. Let it melt 2 or 3 minutes. If this video has helped you, my child, press the subscribe button now. There is one more soul out there sitting up at 3 in the morning who needs to hear what we just talked about, and your subscribe is what helps me reach them. Listen to me as we close. What we have spoken of tonight is not really about a cough. It is about the bowl of warm porridge you stir on the stove on a Sunday morning with no wheeze in your chest. It is about the slow walk through the garden with your granddaughter when she stops to ask you the names of the flowers, and you can answer her without the hand on your chest, without the apologetic smile that means, hold on, baby, let me breathe. It is never too late. The body at 70, at 75, at 80 still knows how to heal. The Creator gave us bodies that listen. They listen to what we feed them. They listen to the breath we give them. They listen to the medicine of the bees, the salt of the earth, and the bacteria of the belly that keeps the lungs quiet through the night. You are the keeper of this body, my child. You always have been. The salt and honey, you can start tonight. The gummy that closes the last stubborn gap, the one Eleanor and Robert and Dorothy needed, is in the description below. 60-day guarantee. Try it. If your nights do not change, you get every penny back. Walk gently, sleep deep, and may the Creator keep your breath easy through every night that comes.